Take two. Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Corrupt Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2006 sports drama film titled Gridiron Gang. Now, Gridiron Gang runs for 2 hours and 6 minutes long. It is directed by Phil Joanou. It is produced by Neil Moritz and Lee Stanley. The script by Jeff McGuire. The score by Trevor Rabin. The cinematography by Jeff Cutter, and the editing by Joel Negron. And the stars of the movie are Dwayne Johnson, Xzibit, Kevin Dunn, Leon Rippy, Jade Yorker, and L. Scott Caldwell. Now, it may seem like we have seen this kind of film before, you know, the one where we have troubled adolescents with no real direction in life, and, they've lost all hope. They're getting in and out of the law. They just seem to be involved in a lot of violent situations where they're too young to go to jail, but not safe to be let free, so they get institutionalized. And it's just that, when they are like behind these institutions, the question is, what now? Where do they go from here? Well, they have one of three things. They could either end up going to jail. Worst case scenario, they can end up dead. Or maybe they can change their lives around, become better civilians, become more or less, role models in their lives. But in order for that to happen, they have to change. But they just can't do it alone. I mean, they just can't wake up overnight and say, I'm not going to live the life of crime. I'm not going to do bad things. I'm not going to get in and out of trouble. I'm not going to defy the law. No, it doesn't work overnight. And they can't do it alone. So getting the motivation from dedicated teachers to provide enough tough love and to motivate these kids to prepare themselves for the future and to inject a positive outcome and to show you that they could be anything they want if they set their mind to it. But they can't do it alone, and they can't just live off of an empty promise. A commitment is something that is not just out of you, it's within you. And this is kind of like the valuable lesson that these kids have to learn in order to get through in life. But they need the right person for the job. They need the best motivator for the job. They need somebody to turn these juvenile delinquents and to make them into better people. They're just not going to do it alone. They need somebody. And this is where The Rock's character, Sean Porter, takes effect. So based on the actual events, based on the Emmy-winning show of the same name, Gridiron Gang, which was a 1993 documentary filmed live at Camp Kilpatrick in California. This is one of the many films that focused on the trials and tribulations of troubled teens and how getting them involved in football could motivate these kids and how Coach Porter turned these troubled teens into upstanding citizens. Not all of them. I mean, he succeeded in most of them. And this is, of course, based on true events. But of course, unlike the 1993 Gridiron Gang, that was a documentary. This is, of course, a movie, so there's going to be some dramatization. They may even change the names of some of the characters. But all in all, this is a dramatizations of the events that led to turning these troubled teens into upstarting civilians, outstanding civilians. It wasn't an easy road, mind you, but with the competence, the dedication, and the enthusiasm from Coach Porter, these kids made a difference. And it goes to show you that everybody deserves a second chance. So these delinquents, well, when he first, arranged these kids to take part in football, these delinquents, they failed to coexist. But through the power of sport, they are able to learn about teamwork, the power of cooperation, and the gift of hope. In order for this dream to become a reality, they need to have someone to guide them on the right path. So we have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He walks in a very familiar territory like Michelle Pfeiffer was in Dangerous Minds and Samuel L. Jackson from Coach Carter. He takes the helm as the guy setting these delinquents on the straight and narrow by getting them involved in football. And this is quite apropos. I mean, I think director Phil Joanou did a great casting idea of having the rock star in this role, being the fact that we all know him as a former WWE superstar, a seven-time world heavyweight champion, one of the most charismatic characters to appear in the wrestling scene. But of course, before he broke into wrestling as The Rock, Rocky Maivia in the independent circuit, he was known as Flex Cabana. Before then, Dwayne Johnson actually was a football star. He was in the CFL. If I'm not mistaken, I think he actually did play for the Calgary Stampeders. So it was quite ironic that with Dwayne Johnson's football experience, his wrestling experience, he was the perfect candidate to play the role of a detention center counselor slash football coach. Hey, if anybody needs to know about the experience in football, The Rock is the perfect choice. So this role actually did fit quite naturally to him. So Johnson, with his tough attitude and his glimmering charisma, he not only looks believable, he also fits the role to a T. Even though he has started in mostly action films, it's actually quite nice to see that The Rock actually does have some versatility as a performer. The Rock has shipped out of his action film bubble to expand in other areas by taking on a more dramatic role. As we could sit back and enjoy. I mean, he still has his level of humorous moments. There are some tearful moments. And of course, like in a lot of sports films, the people who we always like to root are the underdogs, the ones who look like they got no chance in hell in winning, but they somehow at the last minute make this comeback, and we just have no choice but to cheer for them. Sure, I know it's predictable and formulaic, but it's still, I love a good underdog story. It just always seems to somewhat excite me. Here is no exception. Because we see these kids with no hope to potential, and whether they actually take this whole experience and make them into better people, we need to root for these people. They're asking us to root for them, and we want to root for them. And you know what? We will root for them. Everybody deserves a second chance, and this is what makes this movie so remarkable. Sure, I know it's been done many times before, but it always seems to tug at my heartstrings. Now, even though this movie lasts for 2 hours, I was actually surprised that the movie never feels like it's dragging, and the sports scenes get a piece of the action as well. It's not all entirely like the drama just seems to outweigh the sports, but at least, the sports scenes are fun to watch, they're exciting, and it doesn't like like in the many sports movies, sometimes the drama seems to outweigh the sports, and then there are many times when the sports seem to outweigh the drama. This movie actually balances drama and sport equally. And it manages to successfully keep its audience intrigued. And this is a rarity because one usurps the other, and we all are left thinking, what does it want to be? Does it want to be a drama with some sports in it, or does it want to be a sports movie with some drama? And it's like, why can't we have both? And this is exactly what director Phil Joanou does. I mean, if we're going to see a football movie, maybe we would have to get a guide to understanding football. Or say you're a football fan and there's too much drama, that could, piss off a lot of people. So what we're doing is we're getting an equal share of dramatic scenes and football scenes, and I think it will satisfy everyone. And the best part is, you don't necessarily have to be a aficionado of the sport of football. Or you don't necessarily have to be an aficionado in the field of drama to get the picture. Because it has both coming at us. Even though these films are formulaic, we can't help but feel sympathy for the characters. We know they're going to win, we know they're going to conquer, but we want to root for them the whole way through. And even though football is the sport of choice here, you don't necessarily need full encyclopedic knowledge to enjoy the movie. This further expands the viewers who don't know the game or are fans of the game. So as the film progresses, you begin to root for the team, which is the Mustangs, as they gain the confidence in winning and functioning as a team. It's very refreshing that teamwork can help solve one's problems and that all underdogs can achieve their goals when the odds are stacked against them. And though these kids have committed acts of terrible and sometimes violent crimes, it's very rarely brought upon by director Phil Joanou, who's concentrating on looking through the positive ways of life through these characters to paint a positive outlook in their lives. And it's never an easy path to take, therefore, football is the pivotal start in the right direction. Okay, this movie isn't a cynical, dour, depressing thing. We're looking through the power of positivity. We're looking to see how far these kids can come. It's going to be a long climb. It's going to be a longer climb. They need to start somewhere. And football is just that step in the right direction. And sure, there's some preachiness in the film about staying strong, confident, and don't throw your lives away. Yeah, okay, that's kind of cliche. I mean, you see that in a lot of sports themed movies. But as long as you're alive on this planet, you'll never stop learning, and that rings true to the Mustangs team, the coach, and the trainers as well. And it just goes to show you, no matter how old you are, if you're still alive on this planet, you will always continue to work. You will always continue to learn. The only time you'll ever stop learning is death. Because once you're dead, everything stops. So at the end of this film, as the credits roll, you know, don't just get up and walk away. No, no, or turn the TV off. There are like brief snippets of the documentary that this movie is based on, which includes the opportunity to see the real Sean Porter and the Mustang players this movie is based on. And this is truly, truly an inspirational movie. And I really, truly, highly recommend people to see this movie. It's really a great film to watch. And if I was to give a score, I will have to give Gridiron Great an 8 out of 10. It's truly a great film. And I think if you want to watch a movie that's uplifting and inspirational, I would recommend you to see Gridiron Great. You don't see movies like this very often, but when you do, it'll really tug at your heartstrings, and will also probably may reflect on how you can improve your life. You're never too old to improve. So I guess this ends my writer review for this week. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. Just remember, be kind, be courteous, and don't be rude. And I will be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Rudrider saying, keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.